10 months ago, I created a video on Sharpness based on his PvP skills, using the public 1.9 plus PvP tier list. He is very well known in the PvP community for being a great player and making very enjoyable content, and overall, he has achieved very satisfactory tiers, being high tier 3 in multiple game modes, way better than the other players I have analyzed in the past. But that was almost a year ago. Today we are running it back, analyzing his tiers once more. Has he improved, or has his skills declined over time? In this video we will find out.
First, let's see how much Sharpness has improved in Sword PvP. In the past 10 months, Sharpness has gone against a lot of renowned players in Swords, including Mind Manor, Dreams Trainer Spanker, and even It's Real Me. And a few days ago, after all the grinding and practice, he finally did a Tier 2 test. Sharpness went up against many Tier 2 players, including Svone, It's Real Me, and Presso. Sadly, he failed his Tier 2 test, resulting in him still being high Tier 3. But let's analyze his fights. In his fight with Svone, Sharpness was able to beat him in NI region with a score of 10-6. However, he lost to Svone in EU region even harder, resulting in 3-10. From looking at their fights, we can see that they were able to get each other very low in most of the rounds. This means Sharpness and Svone are pretty close in skill, but we can clearly see Svone still being slightly better. Sharpness also fought Presso, in which he lost in both NI and EZI regions, with a score of 10-7 in NI for Presso and 10-8 in EZI. This shows that Presso is not only slightly better than Sharpness in his own region, but in Sharpness's region as well. From looking at the fights, a lot of them are pretty close, but clearly Presso is also still slightly better. Finally, Sharpness also fought It's Real Me. From the fights we can see It's Real Me really beating Sharpness up at the beginning, having an 8-2 lead. But afterwards, Sharpness was able to catch up with a final score of 10-8. Still, It's Real Me winning. Because both players are in our region, we can estimate that Sharpness is currently a top high Tier 3. However, since he is retesting for Tier 2 in a few weeks, he has a very big chance of achieving Tier 2. Next up we got Nether Pot. 10 months ago, Sharpness was around high Tier 3 in this mode. But what about now? We can see that he lost to a washed and rusty It's Real Me, as well as losing to Ziggs in another stream. From his fights, we can see his aim and timing are still very good, able to almost match with the higher tier players, as well as knowledgeable in other areas such as armor mending and grappling. However, his main weakness is healing and inventory management, having significant less potting speed compared to the other players. This causes him to still be around high Tier 3 skill. But on the lower end, in Diamond Pot PvP, we can see Sharpness has the similar issue. His healing speed is much slower than higher tier players, but his experience and speed PvP carries him. This caused him to beat It's Real Me in Pot. However, if it was a local fight with a 33% damage buff, Sharpness would stand no chance with his slow healing. This would make him still be around high Tier 3 in skill and Pot. Next up we got Crystals. Sharpness has gotten a lot better in this mode in the past few months. He is able to utilize crystals and anchors a lot better than before, have a lot faster totem speed, and knows a good amount of crystal strats, especially shields, in which he totally abuses the crap out of it. This led him to even beat Dr. Donut a few times, who is a high Tier 3, but it's obvious Dr. Donut is still a lot better. We can also see Archer CN, who is a high Tier 4, beating him in this mode, but they are pretty close in skill. This means Sharpness would also be around a high Tier 4 in crystals, and a good one too. Sharpness has also improved a little in UHC. We can see he was even able to beat Mind Manor in this mode, but mainly because he got extremely lucky with his aggressive playstyle. In his fight with Archer CN, we can see that he is a lot less experienced in this mode compared to the other ones. He is able to use all utilities, but lacks a lot of hotkey speed. This resulted in him being beaten by Archer, who is a high Tier 4, which means Sharpness is most likely a good low Tier 4 in UHC. Finally, we have Axe PvP. 10 months ago, Sharpness was a high Tier 4 in this mode. Let's see if he has improved or not. We can see he is still fairly decent at this mode, able to use the shield and axe pretty well and good with bows. However, his tactics are still fairly basic and not that advanced. We can see he is also beaten by Archer CN, who is a low tier 3 and is able to do much better auto hits and stuns. This results in Sharpness still being high tier 4 in this axe.
Overall, Sharpness is now currently a top high tier 3 in sword but has potential to be low tier 2 in the next test, bottom high tier 3 in netherite pot, high tier 3 in pot, high tier 4 in crystals, low tier 4 in UHC, and high tier 4 in axe. This means Sharpness has definitely improved a decent amount in the past 10 months, specifically in sword, crystals, and UHC. Good luck on your next tier test.
Make sure to subscribe because Kanye was said so.
What the hell?